All right, next up, we go to Friday night in the Big 12. It's Kansas State and Oklahoma State. Kansas State, 11.5-point road favorites in Stillwater, 55 being the total in this one. Of course, for Oklahoma State, they're a very, I would say, unimpressive 2-2 to start the year. Their wins were Central Arkansas and Arizona State. And Arizona State, we know, has a ton of issues right now. And then the last 2 weeks, blown out at home by South Alabama, 33-7. And then a road loss at Iowa State. And you give up 34 points to an Iowa State offense that really hadn't shown much prior to that game. So there's issues right now for Mike Gundy's team. Every single week this season, he had gone to multiple quarterbacks. He had played all three: Alan Bowman, his son Gunnar Gundy, Garrett Rangel. He gave all three opportunities to play. Finally, at least in the Iowa State game, even though they lost, he committed finally to one quarterback. Alan Bowman played that entire game, the Texas Tech transfer. Again, his actually percentage is not great, 23 of 48, threw 48 times. And, of course, they only ran 24 times. And I know Oklahoma State was trying to commit to the run more this season. So much for that. They basically threw the ball 2 times more than they ran it against Iowa State, double the amount. 23 of 48, 278 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, 2 costly interceptions, too, for Bowman in that game. Not going to be easy here taking on K-State, coming off a 44-31 win a couple weeks ago at home against UCF. Both of these teams, again, off a bye week here, so there's no advantage there. Extra time to prepare for both Chris Kleiman and Mike Gundy, both head coaches going into this game. Kansas State on the road, I don't know if I want to lay this many, though. There's no doubt I think Kansas State is the superior team. They have shown some warts on defense here the last couple weeks. Can Oklahoma State's, suspect offense, I guess you could say, exploit that? Because they did give up 30 in the loss to Missouri a few weeks ago, Kansas State on the road, and then 31 against UCF, even though they won that game. When you look at the matchups here, though, for Oklahoma State on offense, they have been unable to throw the ball consistently or effectively well this season. If you look at it, on offense here, and they haven't been able to run it at all. Actually, throwing it, they've been a little bit better, but for the rushing attack is not going to work here. They're only rushing for 4.2 yards per carry. They're only rushing for 121 per game. That's 106th in the country. Kansas State, that's the strength of their defense, is stopping the run. So that run game is not going to work. It's going to be a one-dimensional offense probably for Oklahoma State, and they're going to have to throw the football. Can they do it here? It's probably going to be Alan Bowman again. I have no reason to doubt it. I think he's the most experienced quarterback. Doesn't mean he's any good, and we're still waiting to see if he can get this offense going. But I think Mike Gundy showed in the Iowa State game that, Bowman is going to get the opportunity here. Now they face Kansas State. The number's tall. Mike Gundy's good in the dog roll. I will say that. Although last week that was not the case against Iowa State. When he's a bigger dog, he's been really good. But I just don't know if I can back this team right now with what I'm seeing from them. Really, no run game, inconsistency at quarterback, defense, which was good early in the season, but then they play some better offenses. And how do you give up 34 to Iowa State? That concerns me. If they play that bad against Kansas State's at least scoring 34 with Will Howard and that offense. They will absolutely score that same amount. So tough game for me. As of right now, I'm likely to pass. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, it is tough because this Cowboys team isn't any of those teams of the past, when he was a dog. And the points they've given up is a problem. Even the beatdown to South Alabama. And we've seen them not a couple weeks later, not so great, and they only scored 7 points at home in that game. We talked about it earlier in these shows of the weeks. I hated the 3 quarterbacks. It's just like, you can't do that long term. Like, you maybe get away with it for a game or two. So I think they got to stick with Bowman for the most part in this one. But I think Howard, one thing, they're just not the same team away from Manhattan. I've never loved laying points with them, but they should be able to run it here on them. Will Howard should be able to throw it around. Maybe in the week I'll look at a team total. There's no signs right now. It's a big game at night, but yeah, right now I'm off,
Yeah, I think it's just the numbers in a decent spot. I think if I had to, I'd lay the points because I think this could get away from Oklahoma. I mean, right. I mean, they lost 33-7 at home to South Alabama. And look, South Alabama's not been quite the team I expected coming into this season. That same South Bama team went in there and beat them in Stillwater 33-7. So that's why it's hard for me to take Oklahoma State. Like I say, if I had to make a bet here, I'd lay the points. I just don't trust what I'm seeing here from this Oklahoma State team right now. And yeah, Kansas State team total might be the move. Now, and might be the better option if you like Kansas State. Just look at the team total, because I do think they're going to be able to score theirs here against Oklahoma State.